This podcast has been brought to you by Seeker's Guidance, the Global Islamic Seminary. Help us spread the light of prophetic guidance to millions around the world by becoming a monthly supporter. Make a small donation at seekersguidance.org/donate. For as little as $10 a month, you can help people find life-changing guidance.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على سيدنا ونبينا محمد ذي القدر العظيم وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. Our beloved Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam tells us that الدعاء مخ العبادة, that supplication is the very essence of worship. And if I were to give myself an advice for the new year, is to embrace this prophetic counsel that الدعاء مخ العبادة, that supplication is the very essence, the very marrow of worship. Why? Because supplication is imploring Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? The ulama define it from the earliest times. Imam al-Khattabi, one of the earliest hadith commentators, in his work on Sha'nu al-Du'a, he defines dua as being an urgent expression of utter need. Right? That is the heart of dua. Dua is an urgent expression of utter need. And that is at the heart of every act of worship. What is your prayer? Right? Your prayer is not just an obligation that you do. It's an urgent expression of utter need for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What is your fasting? Your fasting is an urgent expression of your utter need for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, expressed in this manner. What is zakat? Right? Zakat has a form. You identify a poor, needy, or deserving person and you give them a certain amount of money. But what does it express? It expresses an urgent and utter need for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? So we should strive, one, to bring dua into our lives, because it's come from the early Muslims that man futiha lahu babu du'a faqad futiha lahu babu al-qabul. Whomever the door of supplication is open to, the door of acceptance has been opened for them. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, Ud'uni astajib lakum, call upon me, I'll answer you. And that is amazing. And that itself, if you're to reflect, that the Lord and Sustainer of all existence says, ask and I will answer. Okay. That is mercy. That's why Ibn Ata'illah says, مَتَى أَطْلَقَ لِسَانَكَ بِالطَّلَبِ, whenever Allah loosens your tongue to ask, فَعْلَمْ أَنَّهُ أَرَادَ أَنْ يُعْطِيَكَ, know that Allah has willed to give you. So we should bring dua into our lives. Whatever it is, ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The small things and the big, even the very mundane. The Prophet ﷺ said, Allah loves to be asked and hates not to be asked. So let each of you ask their needs of Allah, even if the strap of your sandal breaks. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? But then we have to realize that this meaning of asking with need, with urgency and need, should imbue our prayer. Because actually the word salah in Arabic, what does it mean? The word salah in Arabic means supplication. Our ritual prayer is an act from beginning to end, expressing our asking of Allah. Right? We turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and say, Allahu Akbar, and we're asking that He accept us in His presence. We stand in His presence. We recite His book. We bow to Him. We prostrate to Him. All of this is asking Allah. Likewise, every act. So we should cultivate this meaning that الدعاء مخ العبادة, that supplication is the essence of worship, but to do so with gratitude and joy. Right? Because what a tremendous, merciful, generous Lord that we have. And there's no condition that you have a quota of asking. There's a very diligent brother, and I believe him to be deeply sincere. For several months, my duty on the answer service has basically been answering his questions. Because sometimes he'd ask 50, 60 questions a week. And I know some people who would probably struggle to come up with 50, 60 questions a week to ask. So we agreed to a quota. Said, look, I'll answer whatever question, but can we agree that you answer 10 questions a week? Ask, because a lot of questions coming in. So we agreed. And he himself numbers the questions daily. 10. Till it reaches 10 for the week. But then he started emailing me as well. And soon I'll put a quota on that too. But they're not urgent questions. He just, mashallah, thinks a lot and deeply about religion and practice. But most of us, even if we were being patient, wouldn't give a blank check. Right? Imagine if you told your children, buy whatever you want. Right? Here's my debit card. Unconditionally. No one would give unconditional permission to another, but Allah has. Right? But the last thing I want to remind myself is that the best thing you can ask from Allah is for Allah Himself. Right? The best thing that you can ask from Allah is Allah Himself. The best thing that you can ask from Allah is Allah Himself. خير ما تطلبه منه ما هو طالبه منك. The best of what you can seek from Allah is what He seeks from you. Right? He seeks that you be His servant. You should seek your Lord. Right? And that is what life is about. It's about you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the love story of life. How do you fulfill that? All this stuff called religion that we do, all of it is an expression of how we live this love story of life that is about you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us that. And the connection, the point of connection, that is religion, that is the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is about that relationship of love. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala realize us in that and open for us the door of supplication, both renewing our connection to the supplications of the Quran and the Sunnah and the supplications of the righteous, but also to open our hearts to truly ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Imam Muhammad al-Hasan said that it's not good to recite the same dua in every qunut, in witr. Why? لأن التأقيت يذهب رقة القلب. He said, and this is one of the two greatest students of Imam Abu Hanifa, said because just making the same dua every time takes away the softness of the heart, that neediness of the heart. Right? So even think about what du'as you make within the prayer. There are so many prophetic supplications, but you can make your own supplications as well. What supplications you make after the prayer. Don't just reduce your religious practice to adat, to just mere habits. Right? Reconnect to this treasure of prophetic devotion in works like Kitab al-Adhkar and others, but also dare to ask. Dare to ask in the prayer. Dare to ask after the prayer. When you wake up at night or when you wake up for Fajr, raise your hands and ask. And then just ask whatever comes to mind. But then elevate your asking. Right? To asking about matters of the next life. Asking about matters of the states with Allah, the meanings of closeness to Allah. Ask Allah for Allah Himself. Okay? So we ask Him subhanahu wa ta'ala for the best of what His beloved Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam has asked for ourselves and our parents and our families and our communities and for the ummah of His beloved Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and we seek refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from all that His beloved Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam sought refuge from. for ourselves and our parents and our families and our communities, and for the ummah of his beloved messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, both the ummah of those who have accepted his call and the ummah of those he has been sent with sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Wa salli wa sallim wa barik ala al-rahmat al-muhda wa ni'mat al-musda sayyidina wa nabiyina Muhammad al-Mustafa wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallama taslima. Wa akhiru da'wana an alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen wa barakallahu ta'ala fikum. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Thank you for listening. This podcast was brought to you by Seeker's Guidance, the Global Islamic Seminary. Visit seekersguidance.org to access reliable Islamic knowledge taught by qualified teachers. We offer a wide range of courses, podcasts, articles, and a world-class answer service. Support us in spreading free, reliable Islamic knowledge to millions around the world by becoming a monthly supporter. Visit seekersguidance.org/donate and make a small monthly commitment today. Our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "Whoever guides someone to goodness will have a similar reward." So don't forget to share this podcast and spread prophetic guidance.